Check. Quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
Hey, Coach Jay. Nice trading today on Topstep. Good job.
Well, thanks. We
How's
did take.
everybody doing? Welcome back.
Welcome back to At the Buzzer. Thanks for that trade, Coach. That was really nice. Just collaboration with Deanna. It's always good trading with her. Just a quick Dow trade bounce off of VWAP. Um, and especially during that segment, it's usually hard to get a trade with lower volume times, but a really nice one. Uh, It looks like we can hear us, Coach. It looks like you may have a lag on your side again. So if you want to try to leave and come back, if we see that, keep up. But welcome everyone to At the Buzzer, our market recap. If this is your first time here, I'm Coach Jay. That is Coach Paul. The goal of this segment is to review what happened in the markets for the day. We may talk about some markets that you have not traded before, but we believe our goal as traders is to identify opportunity, see how we could have taken advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. This is our first time meeting. I am Coach Jay. I've been a Topstep Performance Coach since June of 2023. I've been trading for the last 12 years and been trading in the futures markets for the last 5, and that is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Oh, thank you, Coach Jay. My name is Coach Paul. I've been with Topstep as a performance coach for a year and a half. I've been involved in the futures trading business for 4 decades. Um, I'm here to help our viewers and our Topstep traders with some perspective and some experience that I hope can help you pass a combine or improve as a trader.
So, thank you for that, Coach. Let's go over a recap of the news that we had out for today. We know we had Taiwan Semiconductors reporting earnings today. They came out last night, and shout out to Rips. I heard that on Rips's call. I know there was a little bit of confusion yesterday when we did this segment about exactly when that earnings call was going to be. It happened overnight, and was part of the reason we saw that rally in the equities during the Asian and London sessions. But then for the daytime session, we had a retail sales number come out at 0.4%. Forecast was 0.3, and then initial jobless claims coming out 241,000, and what was forecast was 259,000. Coach, tell me a little bit about these numbers. What do they mean, specifically the retail sales jobless claims number?
Well, as you mentioned, retail sales for September of 2024 showed an increase of 0.4, um, higher from the previous month. It The bottom line is that number exceeded expectations. Retail sales were also up 1.7% compared to September of 2023, so year on year, bigger than expected. Um, so economy keeps chugging along. Retail sales, money being spent, consumers still strong. Um, so I think they had a negative effect. It really affected the bond market. The bond market dropped a point and a half. Um, and interest rates, as we'll go talk about later, um, are rising. Much to the chagrin of the people who were looking for a half point cut here in the next FOMC.
You did see that in the bond market. Very heavy sell off. I think the ultra bonds were down a little bit over a full percent, but we'll get into that when we look at the quote board. And then earnings. Earnings. We had Netflix just report their earnings. I'm sure their conference call is coming up in a little bit as well. But Netflix estimate for earnings per share $5.12 came in at $5.40. Revenue up as well. Streaming paid net change 5 million more uh, members paying for streaming, where they made those changes to the password sharing. Uh, so got to get your own account. So if you broke up with your ex and you can't share the Netflix anymore, you got to get your own. Got to pay for your own. So what that means is more money for Netflix. That Netflix and chill got a little bit more expensive, um, but it, it,
Well,
it is it is what it is. Go ahead,
it,
coach.
I, I quit watching.
Yeah. I don't know the last thing I watched on Netflix, to be honest.
Yeah,
They were
it's
talk
getting kind of stale to me.
Yeah,
I don't know.
they were talking about, TV shows today on Topstep TV. MP was asking if anyone had a good TV show to watch. I tried to watch that new Penguin show on HBO. I fell asleep during the first episode. I found that the only things that I could actually pay attention to, uh, I watched Topstep TV, of course, and that, I'm not just saying that because I'm on Topstep TV. It's literally the one thing I watch for 8 hours a day. It's on my monitors, and then cooking shows. Uh, Gordon Ramsay has like 17 different cooking shows. Master Chef is a good one. I don't know why those keep my attention so much, but they do. So if
Oh,
anyone
I
has
love
any
cooking
suggestions,
shows.
yeah, they're
I
great.
watch them all the time. Yeah,
Uh,
America's Test Kitchen.
yeah, yep,
I love the cook.
same, same.
We
But
should do a cooking show after at the buzzer.
let's do a cook
Someone
off,
bring
right?
in their favorite food and
At
we'll
the buzzer
trade and eat.
on the grill. But let's get into these markets. We like to focus on the top percentage movers on the day. There's about 35 different markets that we can trade at Top Step, not just the equities. So we're just going to go over a quick overview here. To the downside, we have copper down 0.84%, the 30-year bonds down 1.16%, and the ultra bond down 1.62%, obviously affected by those retail sales numbers that you were talking about, Coach. And then to the upside, the beans, all soybeans. Soybeans up 1.02%, soybean meal up 1.34%, and soybean oil up 2.26%. And coach, that just took me back to 2 weeks ago when I took that Series 3 test and they were asking me about the crush trade, the crush and the reverse crush. Um, I think I got that
Yeah.
question right.
Now you can trade it now that you know it.
Exactly, exactly. To talk about the big four that we trade, we have gold up 0.59%, making a new all-time high again today. We'll talk about that when we get into the charts. Crude oil up 0.55%. And then where is the S&Ps? The S&Ps up 0.06%, and the Nasdaq up 0.24%. The S&Ps, I'm pretty sure, settled flat. Right now, I think we had a little bit of a reaction from um,
The
Netflix,
earnings. Yeah.
but very very unchanged. Unchanged, coach, and I think it's one that we, I don't know if it was very violent, but there was opportunity in that unchanged market for both sides, and we'll get into that when we do. Let's start with gold today because it is the market that made the all-time high. New all-time high in gold, 27.12.7. 27.12.7, new all-time high in gold. I'm going to go to a 30-minute chart, pull up the moving averages, coach. The 20, which is yellow, purple is 50,
Yeah.
the white one is 200. Shout out to you, Coach Paul, for those. We're in an uptrend.
Yeah. We talked about this yesterday. Still wanting to buy the dips, but once again, once it made that all-time high, you either got out or had a scratch.
Yep.
Um, Same pattern. You buying the dips. You know, it's funny. Let's start with last night's opening with the half an hour Globex opening.
To it.
There we go. You know what to do next. We'll put a VWAP. And
VWAP left that range really early.
yeah. That so we've seen this time and again. Interesting. We touched it again, I believe, on the opening. We came right back to it, um, and wicked. Um,
So where
so
that happened was actually on that retail sales jobless claims number, right at 7:30. Uh, we wicked down to it, and that's the news candle there. Go ahead,
yeah,
Coach.
it seems to be there's a bid down there. You know,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
just we got absorbed, and straight right back up to all-time highs. And you know, not an easy trade. It's not like you can get right in there, and you have to pick a spot. Um, Otherwise, it's we look, there's a lot of V's and W's out there. Um, I was long it, and I was never really comfortable. Um, I didn't get out at the high. I got out at the high on the half an hour off the all-time high. Um, but I thought I'd make more. But isn't that part of trading?
Always think you can
Always,
make more.
so, but all-time highs, same structure, buy the dips, um, measure it out, take small losses if it doesn't work.
Sure. Yeah, this gold. I was on slow markets with Dakota last night, and we were looking at a couple different markets like we always do. The Nasdaq left the 30-minute range to the low side. Crude left to the upside. Gold left to the upside. And we were talking about exactly how you kind of trade, coach. You've said multiple times that you're a one-lot trader in 10 different markets. And I thought about that
Yeah.
a lot yesterday with taking this trade. I took the first one I saw it set up was the Nasdaq. The second one was Crude. And then the third one was gold. And I asked myself, it's just like, okay, well, how many trades do I want to be in at one time? Um, and I said, well, if I'm Coach Paul, I might be in 10. And one of them is going to work out really well, and one of them might get stopped out. Uh, Gold is the one that I should have put on, but maybe you just put
Yeah.
on every single one that presents the opportunity and live with the results from there. But gold was a really nice breakout. It gave us a couple opportunities to buy it at that same spot, right near that 2690 area. Um, and I think for me, the best buy in that area would have been, uh, when volume was picking up during the New York session, because I'm looking at it as higher potential for follow through. But really nice trade, coach.
Yeah, and with that, with the putting on positions, um, knowing I take two ATR stop or the VWAP goes under, and compare that to my equity. At no point will I risk more than 12%. So if I'm wrong, or if I have some on and my risk point is 12% of my equity, I don't put any more on. Um, and I can tell you, it's a very rare event where I'll have 10 different one lots on. That means markets are really trending. But um, I seem to, micros work really well in this strategy to spread the risk and reward.
Absolutely. Don't see gold slowing down really anytime soon, but we know how gold likes to make all-time highs. It makes one and then it pulls back 50 points, consolidates for 2 weeks before we continue to run. So let's see, maybe not 50 points. That was dramatic. Maybe 30 points. But let's see how gold, if we did close above 2,700, uh, I think that might be the first close above 2,700.
I'll
Yeah, I think it is.
see. I think it is. Yeah.
Yep. First close above 2,700 in gold. So that's a little different, right, of an all-time high where it's holding up here a little bit. So let's see if this rally continues. Obviously, on the daytime frame, we are clearly in an uptrend above this 20 moving average, getting extended from it. And who knows when 3,000 in gold could be pretty soon.
Well, every time I hear the price, because I'm not price sensitive, I'm
Right.
flow sensitive.
Mhm.
But I remember it was like 2000, year 2000, the Bank of England, under direction of who was the prime minister, unloaded their gold at the price of like $225. Go look into it, Google it, Chatty G it. That happened. That was the stone cold low. Um, I don't.
Who signed off on that trade?
Yeah, boy, there were some smiling faces. By the way, at the time, gold every year thought inflation was a thing of the past. Um, you're not earning any interest on it, and gold was dead. I'm talking dead. So anyway, that price kind of still amazes me, 2,700. Um,
Not
and
gonna
boy,
stop.
just looking at that chart, I mean, that's not topish.
Not at all. Not at all. Let's move over to crude oil, and then we are going to go to the equities. Crude oil still consolidating right now. Not too much to talk about in crude, to be honest. If you're a range bound trader, the last 3 days in crude have presented the exact same prices to you. Uh, it's trading down towards 69, 40 and up towards 71 and rejecting at either. So if you are a range bound trader and this type of market structure looks like your A plus setup, Crude is presenting this to you until it doesn't, right? Of course, anything can happen. A headline can come out and we could be trading $80 crude tomorrow or $60 crude tomorrow, right? Anything can happen. But for right now, very consolidated, coach. If I'm looking at these moving averages, we're clearly below the 20, the 200. So somewhat in a downtrend thanks to this sell off that we had on Monday. But since then, the 20 and the 50 are kind of wrapped around each other. No direction in this market right now.
As you said, it's it's basing.
Mhm.
Um, would have to get over the 200 for me. I'm staying away from it. Um, Option premium sellers are smiling. That's just brutal. Last this week since that sell off, it just um even to look at it, there was a spike earlier today. I mean, even if you were you were trading that range, it made it even hard for you to look. That spike was pretty vicious. It happened really quick, right back. So um tough trading crude and from my perspective. Um, if there's anyone else that's nailing that market, good for you.
For you for sure. We're going to try something a little different. We're going to move on to the equities now, coach. And you and I talked about this a little bit after. So, chat, you're our audience. We need to know what you guys like, but I'm going to try something a little bit different for the equities here. And we're going to go to 4 up for the equities. Let me know if this looks clear at all, if you guys hate or love this. But we're going to look at the 4 different equity markets together. So give me 1 second just to get this set
Time,
up.
time out, coach.
What's up?
If you love it, smash that like button.
Yes, please do. Please do hit that like button. I'm going to pull up the 4 major equity markets. Give me 1 second to get this set up, getting these chart links out of here. If there's any questions in the chat, also why I do this, let us know. But let's put the NQ on that top left. Let's put the ES on the top right. We're going to put the Russell on the bottom left and the Dow on the bottom right. All right. So all same time frames. Let's remove drawings from all of these real quick. And bear with me, chat. If this is how we want to operate logistically going forward, I'm only going to get better at this. Let's put on our moving averages so we can assess all of these markets at the same time. And the reason I'm doing this, coach, is a lot of times, and we've talked about it, where if the Nasdaq or the ES are not presenting opportunities, the Dow or the Russell may be, and vice versa, right? And we know we have traders trading in different markets, so we want to try to analyze them all. So let's go with this for now. I'll zoom out a little bit. All right, now how does that look, chat? Looks good, or are we confused? Give me a thumbs up if we're good, thumbs down if we're not.
It's the greatest thing since sliced bread, coach.
Got a looks good from Tommy. Tommy, you're the first one to answer. Actually, no, we got King Caesar looks nice. Nasdaq says very cool. Uh, all right, we're good. We're good to
uh,
go.
D. Thanks for tuning in. Hope that cold gets better.
Feel better, D.
I like that comment. It's been kicking my bottom. I'm like a dude when I'm ill. Don't it? Yeah,
Feel better,
great
D.
comment.
Um, all right, so here we go with the 4 different equity markets. Again, top left we have the Nasdaq. Top right we have the ES. Bottom left, we have the Russell, and bottom right, we have the Dow, which did make a new all-time high today at 43,550. We're gonna try to analyze these markets, and we've done this. Coach Paul and I did this in Discord a couple of months back, and we're going to do it when we focus on the shorter time frame. But we have different types of traders, right? We have trend traders, we have range bound traders, and or we have traders that can do both, right? But sometimes there is a market structure that resonates with you better, and finding out which one that is, and then trading that market, I think could be important. Now, again, when we're talking about trading different markets, we talked about this yesterday as well. If you're new to your trading journey, try to find a setup that you like first before you diversify between markets, right? You should be focused on trading micros and things like that. But try to find a setup first, and then you can apply that setup anywhere it goes. So if we look at the first thing we look at, coach, for all these markets, 200 moving average, the white line on all of these charts, the NASDAQ, we're kind of basing around the 200 moving average. On the Russell, we're in a
Yeah.
clear uptrend. The Dow, we're in a clear uptrend, and the ES, we're in an uptrend, but it's a reluctant uptrend, is the way I'm reading this.
Yeah. So again, we talked about this a couple months ago. The Nasdaq has lost its luster. I think just looking at a chart, institutions are buying wider bases of stocks rather than being concentrated in the tech. Um, that's kind of obvious when you look at it, the difference between the Russell and the Nasdaq. Well, they look like two different markets. Great perspective.
Absolutely. The Russell not making all-time highs yet. The Russell all-time highs are somewhere near 2,500, but we are making highs on the year, where I don't think we've traded above this 2,300, maybe for a little bit earlier in the year, but we're getting ready to make year-to-date highs on the Russell. All right, let's zoom in and look at the 30-minute open for all of these markets and see if they presented different opportunities, right? Some may present opportunities earlier than others. So let's see what we got. So here is the 30-minute open in the NASDAQ. We're going to attach a VWAP to that. We got the 30-minute open in the Russell. And we talked about this a little bit, where the Russell and the Dow seem to move a lot more in the New York session than they do in Asia or London. And that might just be, a for right now thing. Don't know if that's how these markets always move, because I don't trade the Russell and the Dow that often. I have started looking at them a little bit more. Here's the S&Ps on the right side. We'll anchor a VWAP to that as well. And the Dow on the bottom right, and we'll anchor one there. Right. So they look pretty similar overnight in the NASDAQ. Like I said, this is the trade that I took initially. And shout out to Andrew for sending me this. We'll focus on the NASDAQ. This is the trade that I took initially in slow markets, where we had the opening range established, coach. We had VWAP leaving the range, and the market rejecting at the lows, right? So I'm taking this trade as an opportunity to go short. And I had some traders ask why I got out of this, because I did cut it. Originally, my profit target was 20,200, but this candle right here told me enough, right? Where I was short from the high of the opening range. When we start to hold 50% of this, um, I'm questioning whether or not sellers are real about their mission on selling the markets. Clearly, they weren't. That was a very indecisive sell candle there, where it closed as much as selling as we had. It closed green. Uh, so I'm out. I'm out of that trade at that point.
Interesting, because that was the low.
Mhm.
Um, so did you put that candle? Did you frame that out as soon as you made a low?
This one here.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. So I took the trade. So let's go into a shorter time frame here. I took the trade when we tested the opening range and rejected, right? So I took the short here. Uh, Actually, go to slow market time. I took it here. Uh, VWAP left the range to the low. And then we had traders saying, "Hey Jay, look at that last 30-minute candle. That is a very indecisive candle." Um, so at that point, I'm thinking, yeah, yeah, you know what? There's indecision. Sellers had an opportunity there. This angle of VWAP is starting to flatten out as I'm in this trade, and I don't see any selling pressure come in. I need to think about taking this off because the ultimate price target that I had may not get hit with this indecisiveness right now.
Okay. And you just at that point you're just out. You're
I trailed the stop into profit and said, you know what? If it takes me out, it takes me out. But I'm not going to allow this to turn into a loser.
because I see a lot of people, and this is true about over trading. That's why I bring it in. Once you decided you were out, you were out. One of the things we can do, especially at night, is over trade the overnight market. I prefer to trade less. I'll put my risk on, and kind of take me out. If not, I stay in. But I do like what the way you analyze that. And VWAP, like you said, VWAP stopped. It was away. There was volume. It was away from volume, and it didn't. It really didn't bring any volume in after that.
Stop moving.
It's
They
interesting. And
kind of
then
stopped trading it. So that was that on the Nasdaq. Let's go back to our four up. If I can figure out how to get there. There we go. Uh, there we go. Four up again. Let's go to the news candle. In each of these markets, we had news out at 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central Time, and which one of these markets, because they all are going to respond differently, responded the best to the news. Hopefully, this is not confusing anybody. And if it is, let me know. This is our news candle. I'm going to zoom out, go to a 15-minute chart so this looks a little bit cleaner. We framed out the 3-minute news candle. We see in the NASDAQ, we traded in that range for a little bit, peaked above it, tested up towards 20,600 and rejected. The Dow pretty much just chopped around in that entire range for the day. Although the Dow did make all-time highs today, this is a range-bound trader's paradise. What I'm looking at, a lot of indecision, a lot of overlap in these candles, Coach. Um, Go ahead.
I, I see that, and this is this is where over trading can really, really get you deep in trouble. It's good, it's bad. I'm short, I'm long. One of the best pieces of advice I had was to trade one side. Um, and in that, I would get spun, get long, get short, get long, get short. And when you think about when you do that, you're doubling your risk profile. And man, it just does not. That's when you break things. Um, I was never a person to break things, but I had colorful language that it seemed to
Oh
work.
yeah.
A very artful language. But when I see that, I get triggered. So if this helps anyone, if you got chopped, try to just trade. You're either coming in to buy it or get long or get short. Uh,
One or
um,
the other.
if you get spun around, and I see a few comments here, that's going to help that. Um, because there's no quicker way to blow up an account than to get short and long, short and long, short and long, and be wrong. Be wrong on one side, and you can just think about that right there.
Yeah.
Um,
Insane. and that is a shorter time frame, but it is a 3 minute chart, but we could see the indecision in the market, right? What I'm doing right now, coach, I'm just pulling up the 3 minute opening range for each of these markets. And there's a question from Volume is the King. Love that name.
I
Volume
bet you do.
Volume leads my trading as well. It's where I make a lot of my decisions. So I'm going to answer this question. So at 8:30, you are getting 3 minute balance, and after New York session, you are getting the 30 minute balance. For me specifically, anytime I'm looking at an opening range and it's a London session, Asian session, or New York session open, or a news candle, it's going to be a 3 minute candle. If it's the session open, right, full day session open, Globex open, 6 p.m. Eastern, I'm using 30 minutes. Coach Paul, what is your answer on that? Do you change it? But for me, guys, most of them for me are going to be 3 minutes, except for Globex open.
I 30-minute. Um, I will use like today. I used the 3 minute today.
Okay,
And why did I change on the? Because we had that big rally. I mean, what we were up 35, 40 handles. Um, then I gonna squeeze the time. I was long from last night. Um, and when I'm thinking about it, I was like, well, half an hour. That's a long time. We've already made the move. It was up on my second level of resistance. And with that, I was nervous. I'm like, well, probabilities are there's going to be some kind of reaction to the downside. So I framed out that 3 minutes and put a stop under the first 3 minutes. And man, that was the best trade I had all day because
getting out of one.
I didn't, it's just getting out. Um,
Coach,
I
hold on.
didn't get
Say
short.
timeout, timeout, timeout. Say that again. Say that again, please. Hopefully, you guys just caught what he just said. The best trade that he took today was. Go ahead, coach.
Getting out, taking profit, getting out under the 3 minute was the best trade. I didn't get short. I just won. I'd been long from overnight. And once again, just getting out. I don't, sometimes, you can lose control when you try and buy low and sell high. That sounds crazy. And go look at your trading. When you try and sell the high, like, or buy the low, you can. I did it through the late '90s. I could sell the high in the. I was really good. Nasdaq, S&P. I sold the high 5 times a day. Get my drift. It just kept on going. So once again, buy low, sell high. Also taking one side. I'm only looking to get own the S&P or all the equities. Um,
It's about where you buy
so
it.
it's about where I buy it, and I don't make money every day. I,
Yeah.
but the key to me is survival. You know, and I don't survive when I try to buy low, sell high. To me, and I'm like, if you can if you can do it, God bless you. But I see a lot. I've worked with a lot of traders, and those days that I'll repeat this: the worst days of every trader I've known that's blown out is when you're scrambling to make money and you get long, you get short, you, you get stuck, you go the other way. It's it's a horrible feeling. If you've been doing that, you know exactly what I mean. Take one
Yep.
side, lose one side, restrict it, and live to trade another day.
Sure. Uh, I'm gonna go over this, and I think this is a good example of this. I'm gonna try to explain this to the point where I could clip this out and make it its own video. So bear with me here. We're asking, get a question saying, can you talk about this framing out process and exactly what the trade is? So what I'm doing here is looking at the opening range for the market, right? I'm using a 3 minute candle. So I'm going to frame out at 8:30 Central Time when the market opens for the New York session. I'm framing out that first 3 minutes. I'm also attaching a VWAP to it, and you can see on each one of these charts, this red line, that is VWAP anchored to the session open. What I'm doing to frame out a trade from this point is I want to see how the market responds to this range, right? To this white box in all of these. And I'm reading this red line and price action for potential entries. We can see in the NASDAQ in the next 3 minutes, we sold off from that range price wise, and volume went with it as well. This is telling me that there are convinced sellers in this market, and I should be looking for an opportunity to get in short with them. Same thing up here in the S&Ps. Price leaves the range. That red line volume leaves the range as well. I should be looking for opportunities to take a trade here as well. It's not just a blind sell, but what this is giving me is an opportunity where I can get into a trade with the flow of the market and limit my risk, ideally somewhere back inside of this opening range, if not at the high of it. We have the Russell here where it price left the range early in the Russell, but we can see volume kind of hesitated leaving that range. And look what happens to price. When volume hesitates, price bounces back inside the range. It's still hanging out near these lows, so I have an opportunity to sell somewhere higher, right? And VWAP is anchored at the open. That is correct. We can see though, volume eventually leaves the low of the range in the Russell, gives us an opportunity to sell. And last example here in the Dow, that volume never left the range. This is a range bound market. We can see it in the price action. Now, somebody is going to charge you $200 a month for that information. I just gave it to you for free because all of that being said, it doesn't matter if you can't execute it and be patient when an opportunity presents itself to you, right? With this price leaving the range, we still have to be patient as traders, coach, right? Sometimes we know something's going to happen to a high probability, so we just want to jump in. If I sell the NASDAQ down here at 20,412, this pull up of 100 points blows me out of my trade before the market eventually goes in my way. It goes in my favor. So I need to be patient and wait for entries. Those entries, when the market starts to trend, are going to be higher probability when you can get an entry somewhere near volume. Now, if I'm looking at the NASDAQ, we rejected right at 20,500. Make sure you backtest. Make sure you trade this in a practice account. Don't look at this and say, oh, Coach Jay just gave me the golden ticket. You know, I'm moving on up. It's not going to work like that, right? You go ahead, coach.
Oh, you said moving on up. I'm an old man. I remember that show, but
Mm.
to the east side.
Yep.
But
Deluxe
I
apartment
had
in the sky.
in the sky. Well, what a great show. So I just want to go back to what you said about being patient. You know, just looking at that, it isn't the golden ticket. I remember you were on Fast Markets. It was last week,
Mhm.
and it was a sell, and you wanted to sell, and you canceled the orders, and you caught yourself, and you said, "No, bring it on up to this price." And Andre's like, and then got filled it. And Andre's like, "Why?" And it was
Yeah.
to to volume, and that really takes patience. I can be that. Patience is a virtue, but I don't have the time. I gotta get in. Right? But what if it goes down without me?
Mm.
Um, that that happens a lot in trading because first thing we want to do is be right and make money, and then after we get in, we're like, all right, it's not moving anymore, and now wait a minute, and it's like you're in a dark alley. Well, okay, now immediately moves against you. Well, and this is the trick bag. You weren't patient. Now you got in. Where am I getting out? Ah, FOMO is exactly what that is.
Exactly what it is. So you can see this again, backtest it 1,000 times. To understand the setup, right? So you can read and react in real time. But we don't get paid to analyze, we get paid to execute. So make sure you're executing in your best interest. Coach, we covered all the markets. Is there any other markets you want to discuss? I see we have a question from Addie Hill in Discord that Andrew sent over to us. Andrew, thank you as always for sending us questions. 27 Color also had this question in the YouTube chat, Coach. So I think it's a good time to talk about this. Uh, let's say let's say you take this one, right? I take this in the Nasdaq. I'm short from 20,500. In 6 minutes, I make about $1,500, $2,000 with a one lot. Um, and I'm feeling like I'm the king of the world. Uh, Addy Hill, Coach Jay, please, how can I accept losses? I was up 400 on 5 XFAs, went negative and lost it all. I know my rules. What's the best tip to stick to it? And 27 Colors said they were up about 500 in a combine and ended up losing it as well. Uh, how do we deal with that? Because it's an important question. What do you think, Coach?
Um, well, first of all, have you back tested your strategy? How long have you been doing it? So that you have expectations. The best way to do that is before you got in the trade. What's your risk? Can I afford it? And especially in day trading, what's my reward? I'm coming to the conclusion if you take you get a 2-to-1 day trading, and it's something I've had to adjust to because in my swing trading, I'm going for 12-to-1. So I have to give it a lot more time. The risk in a day trading is a lot shorter. So when you enter these questions, they're not even questions. These rules have to be followed. So you define that, you had it, you went negative and lost it all. When you were up 400, was that your goal? Was it a 2-to-1 trade? Or were you, and this is, I've been guilty of it. Were you greedy?
Yeah, 100%. Has nothing to do with your strategy.
And it's called, the fear and greed rules the market. This has been since the first Sumerian sold barley at a low. It comes down to greed. That patience is about executing the plan. And I've done that because what happened, I can see is your rules. I don't know if your rules were to take 400 or $300 profit. I don't know that, but you know that. And then as soon as it slipped back, you didn't get out because you wanted it to go back because you felt that, hey, that was mine. Now it's gone. Well, I'll go back. I'll wait till it goes back and I'll get out for sure. Or did you started going to a loser and you added to it? I don't know, but I know this: you have to keep it, and that's where we talk about discipline. You got to take it off. If it comes back and it's a loser, it goes back to the hierarchy of account management. Okay, I got to stop. I'm down 12 to 15% of my equity. Until that happens, you're always going to be vulnerable to the blow up. It's because it's your second self. It's that, talk about two selves. And that's who you're really dealing with. So when this happens, and I've seen this, I've done it, I see it a lot. This is where you become a trader because those rules are there. I would say they're not rules. You have to have principles because you can break rules, but you can't break principles. So look at them
Point.
as principles. I mean, the old saying, don't spit into the wind, don't tug on Superman's. Those are principles. Rules are, we break rules. But if you set them down and this is the principle, it's going to be easier mentally
Which, if you
just
don't
to
mind, I'm gonna tweet that because that's a great quote. Go ahead, keep going.
have at it. Just put Coach Paul on there.
Got you, got you.
But and the reason I've done it, especially when I was younger, because I would fight the market. Market's wrong. It's taking my money. I got to get it back. I got to get it back. Well, no, you don't, because that's where you lose control. So I been there, and this is the lesson you need to learn. It sucks. That's what's great about Top Step. That didn't come out of your pocket. Um, but when it's your money, like the real's money, it w- it it hurts even more. So it will continue to do that until you get the principle down. And once you do that, life becomes easier. Except you feel good about, I lost well today, and I can guarantee you, until you get to that point, sometimes you're going to fight it. So accept it. Learn this lesson. Don't. I'll repeat it. It's you don't rules don't matter. They're easily broken. It's principles. Set up your principles. I believe that's going to help you a lot.
Yeah, 100%. I was gonna to interject there, but I don't think that I could say anything better than what you just said, Coach. Yeah, have some principles, and I saw D mention it in the chat earlier as well. For both of these traders, uh, in your principles, ask why the money that you made wasn't enough. Right? Where $400, if I gave you $400, if I just knocked on your door and said, here's $400 for you, you would take it. And obviously, you're doing a little bit more work in your trading to get to that point. And if you're seeing the market well, and you want to continue to trade, fine. You don't know that the next trade you take is going to be a loser, but there should be some principle that I'm not going to give back X amount of what I've made for the work that I've done. Um, so great point. I got nothing else on that. We did get an ask by D to look at copper. So we're gonna do another four up. I have gold on the top left, silver on the top right, copper on the bottom left, and platinum on the bottom right. Just looking at the asset class that is metals, and the four different metals. Trying to think, is there another metal that I'm forgetting that we can trade at Top Step?
Palladium.
Can we trade at Top Step? I don't think so.
I don't think so. But you asked, and I had to throw a smart ass answer. I just couldn't.
There might be another metal that I'm forgetting, but here's the major four. Silver, I got up right here on the top right, platinum on the bottom right, copper bottom left, gold top left. Um,
Well, one
and
thing I can see, copper is not following the trend
it's the
of the
inverse.
others.
Yeah, copper in this downtrend, below that 200 moving average on the 30-minute. Um, Platinum in the uptrend looks almost the exact opposite, using that 200 moving average as a support. Gold just doing its own thing, and silver kind of looks like crude oil consolidating right now. Um, Copper looks really good. Uh, D, I know you trade this often. If you can, what's the tick value for copper, Coach? You know, is it 420?
Uh, per half a tick. God, I don't. I have to. I don't remember. um,
D, if you can let
it's
us know what the
it's steep. It's 625,
1250. She just said 1250.
1250. Okay,
There
and
you
it
go.
does it have half ticks? I hate half ticks. Whoever brought out half ticks, and I know why they do it. They have half ticks for spreaders. Um,
Interesting.
so if you're a spreader, you'll understand. There's no spreaders here, so I won't bore you with the details.
But yeah, four different markets again. Gold making all-time highs, but there are other markets that we can trade. Again, micro gold is a great contract to trade, but platinum for the top step accounts, really nice one as well. And D is saying copper as well. Here's the 30-minute opening range on each one of these markets. And Coach, while I'm doing this and framing these out, do you have anything on your scouting report that you want to share?
Um, no, I want to say Bitcoin again. It had a nice move. I'd still like to buy the dips in Bitcoin. Um, but it's just sadly the volatility is There's too much money in it. In my favor, in my opinion, it's acting like a stock. Um, but I'm still buying Bitcoin. I look to buy the dips. We have someone whose main instrument is platinum.
It's
David
David.
Carty. Good on you.
Nice. Yeah, copper is HG, and I'll. So, guys, great thing about Topstep X. If you're trading on Topstep X, if you don't know the ticker, you can just type in the name, right? I can. Well, first you got to know how to spell it. Copper has one O, COPPER. I can just type it in, and it pulls up the ticker symbol here. But we got gold GC, silver SI, copper HG, and platinum PL. Uh, when we get question from Lulu, is copper good to trade at night? Uh, D trades it during the London session. What I would say is look at the chart, right? Look at the chart, just pull up a quick 30-minute and see when the market moves the most. We can see copper presented a decent opportunity to the long side from this 30-minute opening range initially, but that rejection came where, coach? Right at that white line.
I love wicks on a 200 like that. I
Beautiful trade.
I mean, any if it was a buy at wick, those wicks just sell that candle. We've talked about this before. Just sell the low of that candle. Um, like I said, that reminds me of like when you're lifting and you come lifting weights and you're going to a new weight, whether it's 10 pounds or 5 pounds, you're getting to the very top and you can't do it. It's going to come down hard. That chart in the copper looks like that to me. Wow.
Really, really nice one. Really nice one. But there you go. Let's go into a shorter time frame, see what these markets presented maybe during the New York session. Take these moving averages off, and if anyone knows if there's a quicker way to do this, where I'm hiding the indicators and selecting other ones, let me know in the chat. That would be greatly appreciated. Uh,
Yeah, the copper symbol HG stands for high grade copper.
hmm,
There was two different copper instruments years ago. New York used to tell the difference, but I can't do the New. Maybe you could do this, Coach Jake. Capawaya. When I was young, I'm like, what are you talking about? But it is copper wire, um, high grade copper.
I'm just framing out and I know for some of these metals, the open is questionable. So I'm just gonna go with the New York session open, which is go with the equity open, which is 9:30 Eastern times, 8:30 Central. And just looking at these, actually, let's just focus on copper. Copper was the best one out of all of them. We
Yeah,
got below that VWAP, and it was actually no, there it is.
yeah.
Look at it zoomed out. In the New York session, we tested up towards that VWAP.
So that break happened in London, huh?
Yeah. Yep. No, it happened in Asia. It happened in Asia.
Interesting.
This is 9 o'clock Central Time up here. By the time we got to London, it was going the other way. A little bit more room left, but turning around.
Wow. Even that wick off the 200, I will take that trade every time if I see it. But I wasn't awake for that.
He says Tom and Jerry chase between sessions. That's what it looks like. And that's what it looks like for a lot of markets. One thing I want to point out: we talked about probably 16 different markets on this segment. Again, if you're a beginner trader, if you're an experienced trader, should you be looking at 16 different markets every day to trade? Probably not, right? But one thing that we kept consistent: 200 moving average, 50 moving average, 20 moving average on each one of these markets. The open for each one of these markets, VWAP for each one of these markets, and then just reading the play from there. It's the same game. It's the same game. It's a different opponent, right? Like, coach, we're basketball fans, right? The Lakers don't play the Knicks one day and then the Atlanta Falcons the next day.
No.
Right? Because that would be a completely different sport. It's the same game. So for how they have to operate, they're running the same plays. Coach, when you coach basketball, right? From you coached in high school, you coached your younger kids, you're not changing your complete playbook for every game. You're
No.
running the same playbook. Some teams I might have to do something else, right? Some teams I might have to play a zone, other teams I might have to play man based on the matchups, but the overall structure of the game is the same.
Yes. Well, that's why I teach read and react. And in trading, what does that mean? Uh, Well, Coach Jay just described. Read what the market is at. Whether and whatever it is, I use moving averages, and I've been introduced to volume, or I struggle with it for an embarrassingly long time. Working with Coach Jay, VWAP and volume added to that helped me read the markets better. Read, react. That does not guarantee you're going to be right, but it gives you a steady picture of the flow. Like, look at the difference between that copper and gold. What's the difference? Well, VWAP will tell you. Uh, VWAP is better than price. It's volume and price. I don't want to go different than that, but just looking at that, reading and reacting, taking proper risk. That's going to help you. You don't have to master. The best traders I know had the soybean trader. He was just like he was unbelievable. Made millions in the early '80s, millions. One day we come in, it was a drought. One of the farmers who was a trader came in and took a dead soybean plant and hung it from the pulpit in the middle of the pit. And this guy walks in, he goes, "What the hell is that?" So, why I bring that up is why we review. This is the way we review when we see it. If you can add to that, or as it helps you, that's why we do it.
100%. Sharif, I'm going to answer this question. Do you recommend a momentum strategy with 4 ticks profit and 80 ticks stop loss? If you can have a high win rate, do whatever works for you. If it makes money, it makes sense in trading. What I would ask is that if that's how you trade, show the results over a consistent period of time. And if they work for you, then I'm not going to tell you to do anything different. If it doesn't work for you and you ask for a suggestion, I may say lower the risk on that, but trade the way that makes sense for you. I know where that question is coming from, so you know everyone has to figure out what works for them. I don't think the way I would recommend people to trade, but if they have proven results over an extended period of time, I can't argue with that. So if you want to ask your cat for trading suggestions and it works out over an extended period of time, give Whiskers some extra food at night.
Are you saying that it would be a perfect trade?
But and I don't want to like sound like dismissive or anything like that. Hopefully that's not the case. But whatever you do, do it consistently and manage risk. Most importantly, uh, not on a per trade basis, but on an account basis. Right? None of us are doing this. Hopefully to make you know take a picture and show it to our friends and say, "Oh, look what I did today." And then every other day you're in losing trades. So whatever you do, if you can do it consistently enough where you can make profits for you, then I don't care. But if you can't do that, then there's an adjustment that needs to be made for you to have longevity in doing this. Um, Coach Paul with the level 3,000 dad joke.
Well, I think I could add to that. Did your cat scratch the trade? There's more. I'll spare
You see
everyone.
what you did, chat? Got this guy going. Um, Quinn says this is a great show every day. I hope everyone feels that way. If you don't, hit the like button anyway. We appreciate it. Coach, you got anything before we go? I'm gonna check my notes just to make sure I didn't miss anything.
Yep. preservation, capital preservation Friday. Um, by the way, I really, it's capital preservation every day that ends in Y. But be careful, don't overtrade. Look for your opportunity early. And remember, it's Friday. That I don't see anything big. Do we have any big numbers tomorrow?
Let me check here. Let me figure out how to get out of this screen. Numbers out tomorrow? I don't think so. No. So we got housing starts at 7:30 Central. Couple of Fed speakers, Bostic speaking as soon as the market opens, so that should be fun. Kashkari speaking right after him. And yeah, so Fed speakers tomorrow, Bostic speaking twice, getting those speaking fees. American Express earnings, Procter and Gamble earnings as well before the open, and
All
OPEX as
right.
well.
So
Thank
no
you,
big.
Casey.
So that's good. So I think OpEx is every day. Or is this a big one? It's like,
Yeah,
so just don't here. Just like every time, measure your risk. Don't overtrade. Get control of your emotions by doing that. Follow principles, and you'll get better. Oh wait, someone had to add to that cat joke. I like a fat tail trade. All right. You've created a monster, Coach
see, you
Jay.
see what happened. You see what happens. Let's go over these notes real quick. Dr. Steenbarger's appearance on Topstep TV. Great segment. If you have not seen it, I just put the link in the chat. Take a look at that, right? Trading psychology questions, all of that. Really great segment by Dr. Steenbarger. So check that out. Aaron Ellis, Traders Canada actor Aaron Ellis, is joining Topstep TV next Thursday, October 24th at 11 a.m. Central Time. Make sure you set an alarm so you do not miss it. VIPs, if you were one of the 50 Bell to Bell viewers who was drafted to Coach Hoop's Pit Raiders, you should have gotten your email and some instructions from Coach Hoop in your Discord chat. So look out for that. And last but not least, uh, that says drop the link. So let me actually copy the link. Cross Pilot. Trustpilot. If you like what we're doing, not just Coach Paul and I, we already know you hit that like button for us. But if you like what TopStep is doing in general, just with the programming, with support, with the education we're providing on TopStep TV, with the entertainment as well, leave us a review on Trustpilot. Definitely helpful when you do that. And MP said the other day that he reads all of them. So if you want to speak to MP directly, do it through a Trustpilot review. Um, Thanks, everyone. I have nothing else. Coach, thank you as always for another great segment. My dog is knocking on the door. She's ready to go outside. So we're going to end it.
Oh, speaking of VIP, I forgot
Okay.
tomorrow is my draft day. So
Is it
I'm
really?
looking forward to, yes. I'm
Okay.
looking forward to it, and get ready to compete with Coach Jay and his 50.
Awesome. Awesome. That's good to hear. So maybe some opportunities for you all to get on the VIP teams. Listen to Top Step TV tomorrow for your opportunity for that. Shout out to you, JD. Thanks, Deanna. Thanks for watching. Shout out to
Yes,
Cami as
indeed.
well. Andrew, always thank you for sending us the questions. Um, Richard, this is not Sadie. No, this is Daisy, the bulldog. She's knocking on the door. So it's time to go. Let Daisy outside. Thanks, everyone. Trade well. Catch you all on Fast Markets tomorrow. Make sure you catch all the other segments that we have with Top Step, Coach Vince, Coach Hoop, Coach Ray in Discord, and of course Dakota on Slow Markets tonight. Had another big day for Dakota. So
Big day.
big day. We will talk to you all tomorrow. Enjoy your night. Trade well. Manage your risk, and we'll see you then. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.